بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Towards the beginning in Salat al-Isha, some of the verses that we listen to, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَقُولُ الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا, talking about the Day of Judgment. يَقُولُ الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا لِلَّذِينَ اسْتَكْبَرُوا لَوْلَا أَنْتُمْ لَكُنَّا مُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about two different groups of people. الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا, those who are considered to be weak, meaning in terms of their social status. That includes people who don't necessarily have their own positions on things. They just follow the crowd. Whatever the people of influence tell them to believe, that's what they believe. There's that group of people. And there's another group of people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to as الَّذِينَ اسْتَكْبَرُوا, people who are arrogant, meaning they have a lot of power and influence on earth. So they are the ones that decide what it is that people should believe. This is the truth, this is what you should believe. And those that are weak, follow them in those opinions. That's why one of the things that some of the scholars of tafsir mention is that there's the Quran, one of the ways that the Quran mentions this beautifully is that the Quran mentions the weak people in a passive voice. الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا, it's مبني للمجهول. And الَّذِينَ اسْتَكْبَرُوا, the Quran mentions them in an active voice, because it's demonstrating these are people with power and influence. And it's demonstrating that the weak ones these are people who are weak. They follow whatever people tell them to follow. So the Quran talks about how that's the dynamic in this life. But what happens in the next life? When they go to the next life, the people who are الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا, the people who are weak, when they go there, they realize we followed the wrong people. Now there's consequences for all the stuff that we were believing in this life. So what do? They go and start blaming the people that they were following, people of influence. Back in the day, parents used to warn their kids and say, be mindful of your friends. Who are your friends? Because your influence usually came from your friends, the people that you surrounded yourself with. Now, unfortunately, it's not just your friends, it's not just people in physical proximity to you that have the ability to influence you or your ideas and your thoughts and your opinions. Now there's all sorts of people through the advancement of technology that don't know who you are, probably don't even care about you, but people consume their content and are influenced by their ideas and look up to them. So this idea, there's obviously the famous hadith of the Prophet ﷺ regarding good company being like the musk seller. You go into a shop, even if you don't buy anything, you come out smelling nice. Well, that idea, that concept back in the day perhaps used to be limited to who are your friends, who are the people that you keep around you. Or at most, you could perhaps add, whose books do you read? Right? You're affected by influenced by the ideas of whose books that you read. Now it's different. Now people are influenced by, which movies do you watch? Who are the producers and writers of that movie? What sort of message are they trying to instill in your mind? What shows do you watch? What influencers do you follow? Which streamers do you watch? There's so many people that have an influence on your ideas and your thoughts. The Quran here is cautioning us from being mindful of who it is that you follow. Because on that day, the people who were influenced will go to the ones that were doing the influencing and saying, if it weren't for you, if it only wasn't for you, we would have been believers. You were the ones who brought us here. And their response will be what? أَنَحْنُ صَدَدْنَاكُمْ, did we misguide you when guidance came to you? We didn't misguide you. You were criminals yourselves. You made the choice. They will say, it's not us. We didn't force you. We just told you this is what you should be doing. You listened to us. You were the criminals too. We weren't in this alone. And sometimes when parents have a child that's perhaps troubled child or someone who's not listening or something of that sort, parents often out of their level will say, look, it's not him. He's a good kid. It's just his friends. Right? Did his friends fall out of the sky or did he pick them? He picked them. You are what company you keep, that's who you are. So the choices that we make in terms of not just physical companionship, but what we allow to enter into our minds, into our thoughts, affect our thinking, affect our connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what we should believe, what we should follow, that all has consequences. And those are all our choices. Those are nobody else's choices. We make those choices. Sure, others may influence that choice, right? Algorithms and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, you make the choice. You can put your phone down, or you can stay scrolling. That choice has consequences. And on the day of judgment, you won't be able to say, oh, it's his fault, it's that person's fault, it's that person's fault. They will all say what? We made our choices, we're suffering as a consequence. You made your own choice, you're suffering as a consequence. So my dear brothers and sisters, that's why one of the dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions of the righteous people is وَتَوَفَّنَا مَعَ الْأَبْرَارِ. Oh Allah, allow us to die with those that are righteous. What does that mean, die with those that are righteous? Meaning allow us to keep such a close connection with them that the only thing that separates us is death. Until we die, we are in the companionship of those that are righteous. Who are those that are righteous? People that remind you of Allah. When you're in their company, Allah is mentioned. When you're in their company, they remind you of Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. The people of Allah will always connect you back to Allah. And the people of the dunya will always connect you back to the dunya. Sallallahu ta'ala ala khair.